Ranking every item in Mega Man. Starting off with the worst item in all of Mega Man, we have the Proto Jet. Now, this item isn't bad or anything because none of the items are objectively bad, but like this thing is just bland and I don't like that. Calling it the Proto Jet reminds me of Rush Jet, and this thing does not hold a candle to Rush Jet, and we all know that. It looks like a modified version of item number 2 from Mega Man 2, and honestly, if that was canon or even alluded to in the game, that would be cool enough to put it a little bit higher on this list, but it's not canon. At least I haven't seen anything about that, but I can't read, so maybe I missed it. Either way, this thing is kind of lame. It's clearly the worst item in all of classic Mega Man. Next up, we have the Proto Coil for mostly the same reasons as the Proto Jet. It's a little bit better than the Proto Jet due to not being a direct ripoff of item number 2, but it's still a shame that Proto Man gets these weird, lame gadgets to help him out throughout the levels. I mean, Mega Man has Rush, Bass has Treble. Why can't Proto Man have Tango? Is that really too much to ask? I know Tango was mostly in the Game Boy games, but the fact that both Proto Man's items here are just weird machine things with no soul and a boring design, it's just stupid. And I think we would all prefer if Proto Man had Tango, or at least something else, some kind of buddy. Because look, I know Tango technically is just an attack ball and that cat has never helped anyone jump or fly, but I mean, Tango is a robot, right? I'm sure Otto could upgrade Tango to be helpful towards Proto Man, but whatever. Proto Coil is the second worst item in all of Mega Man. Now it's time for the Energy Sorter. This is a very interesting item and it appears in many games. If you don't know what this thing does, it sorts your energy. Basically, if you have your plain old dude equipped and you pick up some weapon energy, it automatically distributes it to your weapons that are running low. This is super convenient and a very cool item, but since you are able to do this yourself by putting in the work of changing to the weapon you need to refill, this can't be that high on the list. Plus, sometimes you really only need one weapon to be full, so even with the energy sorter, you end up not using it. Plus, back in my day, we had no energy sorter. We had to sort the energy ourselves. You darn millennials are lazy having to use this energy sorter thing here. Sorting your own weapon energy builds character and integrity, but the energy sorter is cool though, I won't lie. It's just not super useful at the end of the day. Next up is the Proto Shield. It's a shame that so many of Proto Man's items are so low on this list because I do like Proto Man, but I mean, he's not really bringing much to the table here, let's be real. Now in concept, I love Proto Man's shield. The fact that he just gives it to Mega Man is super cool and it's one of my favorite moments from Mega Man 7. The only problem is, it's pretty much useless. So basically, it's just a shield, right? So that makes sense. It's called the Proto Shield, but it's worse than a regular shield because it only blocks things when you are standing still, kind of like Link's shield from Zelda 1 on the NES, or maybe some of the other Zelda games. I don't know for sure. I mostly play the first two, but that's all this thing does. It's probably the worst item practically in the entire series. The only reason it's not at the bottom of this list in this video is because I think it's super cool. I mean, it's iconic, especially when Proto Man is the one wielding it, and the fact that he literally hands it over to Mega Man has always been so cool to me. But aura aside, this item is stupid. It's basically pointless, and if it wasn't so cool, it would be the worst. But now it's time for item number 2, which is a nice item for sure, but it's just significantly worse than Rush Jet. To be fair to old item number 2 here, it did release before Rush ever existed, so really it feels like the prototype 2 Rush Jets, but we gotta look at things objectively here. And objectively, this item is not all that great. It only moves in a straight line and is really only useful in one spot in the game if you aren't using glitches or any fun strats. To be fair to item number 2, it does have a couple of fun glitches though, which is a plus, one of which is the item Tooterp glitch, which I do have a video going into more details about, and you can find out why it's named that if you watch the video, or you can remain in blissful ignorance, your choice. But other than that, there isn't really much to say about item number 2. It has a nice design and it serves its purpose just fine, but it's just not all that special as far as Mega Man items are concerned. If you can move it up and down like Rush Jet was later able to do, then it would be higher on this list, but you can't. So enjoy being used to avoid that block puzzle in Heatman stage, item number 2, because that's pretty much all you're good for. Next up, we have the wire, and first of all, if this thing was just called a grappling hook like it should be called and not the wire, it would be higher on this list. I know that's stupid, but I'm just being real with you guys. But in general, this is a really cool item. First of all, it lets Mega Man look up. I don't know of many other things that are able to do that, so the wire is already in a very exclusive club. Speaking of the direction up though, it also propels Mega Man upwards by means of said wire. You guys know how this thing works though, I'm sure. And this is a super cool item in terms of how it looks, but functionality wise, it has like, I don't know, maybe 2 uses in the entirety of Mega Man 4. It's honestly a shame because of how cool it is. It's just wasted potential. It could have been called the grappling hook, it could have been more useful. Okay, that's about it as far as its potential goes, but still. Plus, the balloon is in the same game, and it kind of makes the wire obsolete, but it's still a cool novelty, so I can't hate on the old wire, guys, come on. But now it's time for item number 3 as we get into the beginning of the better half of this list. And item number 3 is very useful. It does its job well, and it wasn't even made obsolete by Rush later like some of the other items, because Rush does not climb up walls. Now, I don't know why Rush doesn't climb up walls, that would be awesome, but he doesn't. At the same time, the fact that item 3 is only able to climb up walls is a downside as well. If you don't have a wall to climb up, this thing is useless. And more often than not, you don't even need to climb up the wall. Sure, it's nice when you do need to climb up the wall, but if you've ever played Mega Man X, you know that there's no need to climb up every single wall in the game. Okay, maybe that's a bad example, but that's only because it's very fun to climb up walls in Mega Man X, but you get what I mean. At the same time, in Mega Man 2, you can use this item to glitch through ceilings and save a lot of time in speedruns, or just have fun if you're playing casually. I know a lot of people hate glitches and say it's cheating, but those people are wrong. Play Mega Man however you want. If you don't want to use glitches, cool. If you do want to use glitches, even better. And I love glitches, so the fact that I can use this at any time a ceiling touches a wall with a gap in it to skip part of the level is a big plus for item number 3. But there is one more con, and that's the fact that it kind of looks like a bug, especially while it's crawling up the wall. And my subscribers know that I hate bugs, especially the ones made by the government to listen in on my Skype calls with anime role players. But anyway, in general, item number 3 is decent, and it's smack down in the middle of the Mega Man items list. Next up is the balloon from Mega Man 4. Now, this thing is very similar to item number 1 from Mega Man 2, but the glitches that the balloon allows you to do are few and far between. Sure, there are definitely a few, but they aren't on the same level of magnitude as the Mega Man 2 item 1 glitches are. And I love glitches, so that's a big reason of why the balloon is a little bit lower on this list. But visually, this thing actually looks better than item number 1. You can even see the balloon squish when you stand on it, which is super nice. And functionality wise, this is basically the same thing as item number 1. It's a nice platform that slowly lets you go into the air if you decide to ride on it, and you can shoot out 3 at a time to quickly go up on a screen or skip a block puzzle or whatever you want to do. Another plus that the balloon has over item 1 is that you're able to jump off of the explosions of the balloons. Sometimes when you shoot these balloons out somewhere they won't fit, like against a wall or something, there will be a small explosion that you can actually jump off of, unlike item 1. And I hate to keep comparing the two, but I mean, they're basically the same thing, so it's kind of impossible not to. But another reason the balloon is a little bit lower than item 1 though is because in Mega Man 4, it also has Rush. Rush doesn't quite make this pointless because it's a lot faster to use the balloon to get through certain sections and skip certain block puzzles than it is to use Rush, but it still seems almost unnecessary, especially for casuals. For speedrunners though, this thing is great, which again is why it's so high on this list. It's actually number 5, meaning of course it is the 5th best item of all time. It's also a secret in Pharaoh Man stage and not something you just get for free for beating a level, which of course is going to make it extra cool. So shout outs to the balloon, you did great in that one Disney movie. But of course now it's time for item number 1, which is basically the same as the balloon from Mega Man 4, except it's not a secret, there are no cool animations when you stand on these, and you can't jump on the explosion. So how is this any better? Well, first of all, the design is pretty sleek, but I would say it's a tie between the Mega Man 4 balloon and item 1. But the tiebreaker here is really just how much more often this is used in Mega Man 2 than the balloons in Mega Man 4, both casually and for speedrunners. There is no rush in Mega Man 2, and there are many sections in Mega Man 2 that require you to use item number 1, so it's a much bigger requirement than the balloon. And on top of that, the amount of super cool glitches you were able to do with item 1 is much larger than the balloons. Again, there are some fun glitches with the balloons, but you can't do nearly as much as you can with item 1. Remember that item Tooterp glitch I was talking about? Well, you're supposed to do that glitch with item 1, and I may be the first human being to ever do it with item 2 instead, but again, check out the video I made about it if you want to know more. So yeah, this is basically a tie with the balloons, but the fact that I have more fun with the tricks involving item 1 breaks the tie and places item 1 as the 4th best item in the Mega Man series. Next up, we have the Mega Man 8 ball. Not like pool or billiards, but the ball from Mega Man 8. Now, if you don't know how great this item is, it might seem like a weird choice. I mean, it's just a weird looking soccer ball that only seems to be useful against the intro stage boss and that freak Atitami you know, and that's not really a great resume for Ball here. But if you've seen some of my task reactions I've done, or you've just been a great Mega Man 8 player, then you know there's an unintended mechanic of this ball that basically lets you fly. While it is intended that stepping on the ball or jumping on top of it does give you a little bit of a boost, I don't think it was intended to be able to chain together these jumps midair the way speedrunners and Mega Man 8 experts are able to do. But being able to do this is one of the coolest things ever, partially because it's pretty difficult to get a long chain going, but also because of how fun it is. Items being fun to use is actually a huge factor on this list, so while this mechanic of this ball is similar to item number 1 but way harder to execute, it's also so much more fun and you look way cooler while doing it. Now, I am known for joking around a lot and saying I hate Mega Man 8, but it's actually a pretty fun game, and this ball right here is one of the reasons it's so fun. I mean, seriously, look at this. Mastering your ball handling abilities makes this game significantly more fun, and it's a great party trick. Just plug in your PlayStation 1, or better yet, your Sega Saturn at the party, load up Mega Man 8, and make sure everyone gathers around as you mess up the trick a couple of times while you warm up. Everyone will think you are super cool, and you'll be known worldwide as the life of the party. Seriously, try it if you don't believe me. Even if you aren't invited, just crash somebody else's party and start playing with your balls. But now it's time for the second best item in all of Mega Man, the Super Arrow. Now, once again, you might think it's weird that the Super Arrow is ranked so high, but it's due to being incredibly fun and also multifunctional. Sure, it's a great weapon and it's useful against the Dr. Wily fight, but you could also use it to stick to walls and skip block puzzles, as well as skip that super long section in the Proto Man Castle if you're very accurate with your shots and a Tooterp subscriber, and you can even do several glitches like this one in Wave Man stage that lets Mega Man walk on water. This item is just super fun and it's not even hard to use, unlike the ball for Mega Man 8. Now, that doesn't mean it's necessarily easy. You do need to practice to do a lot of these tricks, but to me at least, it is a lot easier to learn and get used to than the ball. But again, this one is just more fun, and the places that you're able to use this are normally some of the most frustrating parts of Mega Man 5. I don't want to wait around in Proto Man's Castle for that auto-scroller. I like living on the edge of the Super Arrow, that is. I don't want to nerve-wrackingly wait for the crystals to fall in Crystal Man stage. I want to skip them with the Super Arrow because I'm a pro gamer. I mean, I don't know what else to say, guys. This item is just super fun and it's hard to even imagine anything being better than this. But coming in at number 1 as the best item in the entire Mega Man Classics series is, of course, the Magnet Beam. This item has it all. It's fun to use, you can skip stupid parts of the game with it, you can use it on fun glitches, and it is the easiest item to use of all time. This is also easily the most overpowered item of all time. There's a reason it never shows up again after Mega Man 1. Do you have trouble with Gutsman's weird platform section? Just use the Magnet Beam. Do you hate block puzzles? Magnet Beam. What about that long Iceman area or the similar area in Wily Stage 1? Magnet Beam. What about Bomb Man Stage? Magnet Beam. This thing does it all, and it is super fun and satisfying to use to the point where it almost feels like cheating. More so than the select button glitch. That might be controversial to say, but I genuinely think that the Magnet Beam in all of its glory is way more useful and overpowered than the select button glitch. And we all know the select button glitch is nothing to sneeze at. This item is just broken, and you get to find it in a stage as opposed to just getting it for free for beating a level, which does add some bonus points, which are unnecessary. It was already the best item. Now, the intended point of this beam is to just make little platforms against the walls, but the amount of things Mega Man players are able to do with this thing is absurd. The Magnet Beam was so unintentionally powerful that it had to be nerfed into 3 separate items in Mega Man 2 that, even when combined, still are not nearly as powerful as the Magnet Beam. This item is just by far my favorite and the most overpowered and useful item in all of Mega Man, and if you disagree, you are wrong. You're straight up wrong. Learn how to use the Magnet Beam. That was every item in Mega Man ranked. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, leave a comment down below on what else you want to see ranked. I'm thinking about ranking every version of Rush the dog. That might be fun, but maybe we could also rank every Robot Master, or every level, or every Mega Man X Maverick, or every Mega